Very good afternoon to all of you. Most respected Maji, respected Dr. Neeladarji, whom I met a couple of decades before, all fellow speakers, distinguished guests, delegates, participants, dear students. I am really delighted to be part of this very important platform that has been created by friends for not only addressing the issues which are vital for the national security of India, but overall growth and development of all the countries who come under Indian Ocean ring as well as Himalayan region. And India can really play a vital role in collaborating, contributing and learning from each other's experience for overall development and growth of all these countries. Growing together, so that is the concept. The topic of my talk today is scientific temper and addressing the conflicts. Because I belong to the organization that is dealing with research and development in science and technology. And as part of that organization, that is CSIR, that is Council of Scientific Industrial Research. And as part of CSIR, we have an institution that is handling science communication, making people aware of scientific and technological developments. Apart from that, we have another major responsibility for inculcation is scientific bent of mind in the minds of the people. To develop a scientific spirit, to develop a scientific thinking, I think that carries a major role for making decisions, for overall development and overall conceptual framework of the growth. Dear friends, as you may be aware and you must have seen that the conflicts emerge out of number of things, such as misperception, as we have been discussing since yesterday. Number of misperceptions. Misperceptions are many times far from the pragmatic approach. They are different from the facts and factuals and the data. Misunderstanding between the people, between the groups, between the nations even sometimes. Misleading information, misinformation, misguiding. All these things they contribute for the kind of conflict. Maybe a smaller or maybe major. That needs to be addressed with a scientific approach. And I am very happy that one of the fellow speakers, he has mentioned very loudly and clearly the Buddhism approach. And how Buddhism offers a kind of connecting thread between various nations. And India has been the origin for that. So we have the pride of that. And as Buddha says, Buddha's preaching, if you go through, Buddha says, do not believe on whatever your teacher says, unless you have testified it. So Buddha, mainly he is teaching about the experimentation and the analysis, only then reaching to certain conclusions. And that is the process that is adopted by scientists also, who are working in the laboratories. Buddha further says, even do not believe on whatever I say, unless you testify it as a goldsmith does for testing of gold by putting it into fire. सोने को जांचने के लिए जौहरी सुनार आग में तपाता है और तब ये जानता है कि ये खरा सोना है या नहीं है. So there comes the role of evidence-based decision making. So that is the role of the scientific temperament, and if we apply the scientific temperament, most of the conflicts can be wiped out. For instance, I would like to give you a couple of examples. When big dams were being built in India, beginning from the Nangal Dam, Bhakra Nangal Dam. So there was a misperception amongst the people of that region that if you extract all the energy from the water, because dams, we know, we make the energy, the electricity. So there was a misperception amongst the people of that region. If you extract the energy from the water and the crops are irrigated from that water that has already lost the energy, so how our population, how our generations will survive? They will not have there will be no energy. So there was a great agitation out of that. Then there were efforts for addressing that agitation. Then the Nangal Dam was erected. Similarly, there was an effort for installation of windmill farms in one of the estates in India. Windmill farms in a big way. Again, there was an agitation because of misperception that there was not, scientific facts were different. And they started saying that if you extract oxygen from the air, making electricity, making power, then how we will breathe? So this is how misperceptions are really leading to a lot of conflicts. So there comes the role of scientific temperament, scientific bent of mind. I think that is very, very important. And the modern scientific temper that clarifies that how, by applying the method of science that is curiosity driven, that is supported by data, that is again reaching to conclusion by experimentation. So this is the methodology adopted by the scientists. If the same methodology is adopted by our population, by our society, I think most of the conflict between people, between groups, between the nations can be resolved. So that is the role of the scientific temperament. In the current scenario, when environmental issues are there, developmental issues are there, and we have to we have to realize the sustainable development goals by the year 2030. So there come a lot of challenges in front of us. I would like to give another example that is very, very important from the customary approach in India, because India is a traditional country. So we should not forget our tradition in the light of the new developmental issues. I would like to give an example from Rajasthan. Rajasthan, there is scarcity of water. It is known for scarcity of water. Although nowadays, because of the climate change, Rajasthan also you will find floods, you will find a lot of rains there. But still, there is scarcity of water. So what happened? There was a very enlightened group in a village. In a village, mainly the women, they have to travel something like 3 kilometers away from their homes to fetch some water for drinking, for day-to-day activities. So what happened, a very enlightened group, they thought, okay, let us resolve this problem of our women. They are taking a lot of trouble, they are going away from the houses, maybe in summer, winter, under the sun. So a lot of trouble they are taking. Let us do something for them. Eventually they influenced the local administration, they influenced the panchayat, and they aroused some younger people and they made some collections. Out of that collections, they were able to put together a kind of pipeline from the water body 3 kilometers away to the village with a pump set. Now if you turn on your tap, you will get the water at your doorstep. Everybody was happy. But after a period of something like maybe 1 week or so, people turned the tap and there was no water. Then they found that there was some pipeline was disconnected, and they went there and they connected the pipeline. Again, everybody was happy. They turned the tap, water will start coming. After a couple of days, again the same problem. You turn the tap, there is no water. They have found again the pipe was broken somewhere in between. Then they try to find out who is not happy with our this kind of work. Then in the night they found एक बूढ़ी माता जी, वो एक पत्थर से पाइप को तोड़ रही थी. बड़े आदर पूर्वक they requested Mataji, what went wrong? Then Mataji says, क्या आप हमारा घर से बाहर निकलना बंद कर देना चाहते हैं? This is how where the India lives. India and Bharat, this is the conflict between both India and Bharat. This is the difference. So if you consider in any developmental activity the Indian customary approach, I think you will win the war of the progress and resolve the conflict. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.